Oh. What's going on here? Why is it not... Can we detect Jurassic World Evolution OBS? Apparently not. 2 seconds, folks. Are we now working? We are now working! There we go, lovely. Sorry about that, folks. OBS has this annoying tendency that it doesn't like detecting Jurassic World Evolution 2 unless OBS itself is running in administrative mode, which I forgot to do. So sorry about that. Anyway, how are we all doing today? Hello, King Giga. My day has been good. Watched a couple of episodes of the new Fallout TV show with some special people. Yeah, it's been a relaxed sort of day. It is a bit annoying, Joshua, that's for sure. Matthias is also here, I think, as is Barga. Kairu is here too. And yes, today we're going to be continuing the build of our swamp area of the park. Hopefully we'll get Dinosaurs in here. And while we're going to be building today, we're also going to discuss the ongoing DLC chatter, shall we say, as well, and you know, just have a general open discussion about that. Before we get started, I do want to just ask people to make sure that they are liking the stream, and if they're not already subscribed, to do so. And also, you know, if you have other Jurassic World Evolution 2 fans, to ask them to subscribe to the channel, because we are... all of sort of YouTube is doing some stuff in the background, and a lot of channels are suffering a bit of a drop-off in the way the algorithm is working. Sort of Evo's also noticed it, but there are some other channels as well that I've seen. They're also struggling to keep that growth. So whatever you guys can help to do, whatever you guys can do to help us continue our growth and hopefully get a bit closer to 5,000 subs before the end of the year, that would be very much appreciated. Anyway, let's get on with building. So what I'm doing, I'm going to start by doing the sort of the little guest area down here that I mentioned doing last time, just for food and drink. That's where we're going to start. And I am just going to... shift things around. I can't remember what we were doing for the design. So we were sticking to that sort of design. Okie dokie. So let's get this sorted. I am going to shift these around a little because I don't like the position where they currently are. That's nicer. And we are going to combine the two so we have a nice little effect. At some point, I do want to do a video on, you know, things you can do with mods to improve your park building, but I want to I'm kind of waiting a little bit just until the game sort of ends development, so there's a little more modders around, or people who are playing the game modded, shall we say. There we go, that's better. And we are going to surround this with some low walls. I don't want to do the high walls. What I want to do is try and preserve as much of the natural light and the natural view, because this is a brilliant natural view here. And also over in that direction. So we're not going to use the really tall wall sections. We're going to use the lower wall sections here. We will discuss sort of the DLC news in a second. I just want to get some building done before we get too distracted. You watched the new Knuckles TV series. I didn't even realize they were doing a Knuckles TV series. I'm a bit out of sync with the new Sonic stuff. I liked the first movie they did a few years ago. Even though I'm not a massive fan of Jim Carrey, I kind of I liked the movie. But I just haven't really had any sort of drive to go watch the second one or the third one. Just done that the wrong way around. Oh, there's a lot of chat about, lots of chats about Megalodon already. Sharks are cool. Yeah, Barger, I do agree. I mean, that's something I would probably preface. I'm probably going to have to preface every one of my videos about this DLC in the future with that. I like sharks. You know, I think one of the biggest failures of modern conservation has been the lack of conservation efforts towards sharks, because, you know, people don't really see sharks as worthy of protection. And I think it's absolutely disgraceful that countries in the East, primarily China, Japan, have been able to kill thousands of sharks for shark fin soup, which is outrageous. And it always annoys me that sort of the human tendency to protect those species which are cute and cuddly on a poster, like a panda, but other species that are equally as deserving of protection, like sharks, get left out. And I just think that's not on, personally. So yeah, I mean, and I love sharks. And my issues with the Megalodon have nothing to do with liking or disliking sharks. I think that's my first thing. Hello, Neron. Welcome to the stream, and hello, Berenson. You're currently busy protecting Evo and the IOI. I've lost, you know, an Acrocanthosaurus and a T-Rex to that process, Berenson, so I know the pain. Alright, let's sort out this building style here. We're going to go with the large entrance. We're going to move the entrance location to there. We're going to change it to upstairs seating. And we're going to have downstairs seating as well. Lovely. Just as a little bit of a realism point there, I never use the seating areas on the upstairs of small amenities without using the large Jurassic World or large Jurassic World panels entrance, because they're the only two which actually have doors on the upstairs. If you use one of the other entrances, it's like these people have no way of getting up here. There's no stairs or anything, so it looks... I've always thought it looks a bit bizarre. But then when I build, I always like to build with the idea of realism, so... how do I change... How do I change the food? It's at the bottom of this menu, isn't it? Should have been drink. There we go. No. No, 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 no. Change it to drinks. There we go. Right. And same thing here we're going to do. We're going to... Jurassic Park style with the large Jurassic World. We're going to move the entrance to there. We're going to get rid of the thatch. We're going to go with the seating. Actually going to switch to the other type of seating. And make sure we have that backing panel. That's good. And then again, we'll go with more seating down here. There we are. Chocolate drink I'm happy with. This one, I'm just going to change it upstairs slightly to... There we go. There. So those that are seated up there get a nice view either direction. And then the rest of this area will obviously decorate. I kind of want something in the middle. I don't like that gap. What sort of decorations have we got? You know, I don't not like that. I just wish it was a bit taller. We got a different tree type. You know, that also could work. Maybe. You know, maybe the palms are the best ones to go with. Let's grab 2 of them. And then let's just sort of have their heights a bit taller, so they're kind of... Yeah. I'm satisfied with that. Also, if you're wondering, shark fin soup isn't even that good or nutritious because it's mostly fried cartilage. Exactly, Neron. That's why I've always found the idea of shark fin soup especially galling, because it's literally just because of bollocks reasons about, oh, it helps your libido and other bollock crap like that. It's all superstitious nonsense, and that just annoys me because you're killing animals for superstitious nonsense. That's not even true. It makes it kind of worse for me in a way. Like the people who grind up like rhino horn, claiming it's an aphrodisiac, and it's not. It's just, you're just snorting powdered toenails essentially.
Surprised you're not talking about your nap.
Dane. Talk about that later.
I mean, it's an ivory something.
Don't mind me playing Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is the king of relaxed games, Neron.
That's rich coming from someone who's never played it.
Fletcher, I came here to talk about Megalodon, not politics and Chinese shark hunting, Burger says. Okay, let's while I'm doing this guest area here, let's have an open discussion about this Megalodon news. So I think it's pretty safe to say it's going to be Megalodon. Honestly, I don't see how it could not be. I know there's some people saying, oh well, it might be a different type of shark, but let's be honest. If Frontier did do a different type of shark, the number of people they would piss off by doing that, I just think it's very unlikely that they would do such a thing. So I think it's pretty much guaranteed to be Megalodon. Okay, I don't think there's any other way around it. I quite like that. I mean, does anyone in chat think it's not a Megalodon? It's always the mentally insane option of Cretoxrenia. I mean, I just don't think it's likely to be any other type of shark. Frontier knows that people, they're not stupid. They know exactly what they were doing, and they will be watching the socials. They know what people think this is already. So I think they would be insane to not make it Megalodon. So that's my first thought on it. It's definitely Meg. I don't think it's not Meg. And that means we can move on to the second and I think more problematic thing to discuss, which is my thoughts of it being Meg. So look, if you're excited to have Megalodon, I'm not going to say you're wrong for being excited to have Megalodon. At the end of the day, we all have those prehistoric species that we enjoy more than others. I've personally never been a massive fan of Megalodon. I was never not a fan of Megalodon. I think my issue with Megalodon is the modern... Like, us lot as prehistoric animal fans, we knew Megalodon we've known about Megalodon for a very long time. Whereas it seems like the wider world of movies and video games and books has literally only just discovered Megalodon, and they think it's the coolest thing ever, and they want to use it as much as they physically can. And I'm so bored of seeing Megalodon everywhere else outside of paleontology. Like, oh, we have to have films about it, and we have to include cameos of it in video games, and I'm just bored of seeing it. That's my sort of reason I don't particularly have a fondness for Megalodon. I'm just sick of seeing it now. There are so many other interesting marine animals, and I kind of prefer to learn about them. I don't think it will be very interesting in game. I mean, yeah, King Giga. I agree with you in... I mean, I know it's... I don't necessarily think it's the correct thing to say that it's overrated, because I could say that about many of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and in fact I could say that about many people's interest in dinosaurs. I mean, if I was going to be brutally honest, I honestly kind of think T-Rex and Velociraptor are kind of overrated. I suppose when it comes to deciding personally what you think is and is not an overrated animal, I think it's very personal to what you find interesting about them from a prehistoric point of view. I don't find Megalodon particularly interesting because its most common and most agreed depiction is just a big great white shark. And I think the great white shark is interesting enough. I don't need a big one. Like, every depiction of Megalodon I've ever seen, it's literally the same grey body, white belly, just a big great white shark. Which is a bit of a shame. Now, Frontier could surprise me and do their depiction of Megalodon as, you know, oh, we're not going to do a great big great white shark. We're going to have it look different. Maybe they're going to make it look more like a tiger shark or a basking shark or something like that. However, I don't think so. And the reason I don't think it's going to look any different is that it's a DLC, which means they need to sell it for money, which means they need people to like it, which means it'll look exactly like how they want, how all the fanboys who are going to buy this the minute it comes out want it to look, which is a giant great white shark. Yeah, Berent and I agree. I don't want it to look like just a giant great white shark, but that's how Frontier kind of have to make it look in order to sell it to people to make money from it. If they made the Megalodon look wildly different, people will turn around and say that's not my Megalodon, and they'll do hashtag not a meg, and they won't buy the pack. So for Frontier's financial viability for this DLC, it has to look like a great white, which is going to be boring. Like, it's literally just going to be a great white shark now. Why does Frontier keep adding in more Cretaceous animals instead of the ones from the Triassic or Jurassic? Well, Megalodon isn't either that. Like, Megalodon is, you know, dates from between 26 to 3 million years ago. So you're talking about, you know, the latest ones are around the same time that Earth's glaciation started to happen, and you sort of have the beginning of the period of the ice ages. I kind of want to have something else here. Maybe do more than one of them, so we get like a spray-like effect. Just take the already existing shark model and make it bigger, boom. Less time to publish it. Exactly. So again, this is another thing, and King Giga is spot on here. It's going to be very easy for them to make a Megalodon. They've already got the shark model because they have it for the feeder. All they need to do is give it skins, and they won't give it interesting skins because, again, they'll be looking at, you know, a shark, a great white shark for inspiration. So the skins will be boring.
Are you still talking about Megalodon?
Yes, we are talking about Megalodon.
Oh boy.
And they can take the rig from Dunkleosteus, because if you look at all the animals we have in the lagoon, the animation rig for the Dunkleosteus is probably the closest one to a shark, so they can just give it the Dunkleosteus rig, and hey presto, it's done and dusted. We'll talk about the wider pack as a whole in a minute, Barger, because this is kind of the other thing I wanted to mention. And let's just have a little bit of an open discussion here. Let's say Megalodon was in the game from the beginning. Let's say it was one of those aquatic species that were in the game from the start. Does that make the lagoons any better? Does that make you want to use the lagoons anymore? Would you think you'd use the lagoons more in your parks if Megalodon was there from the start? Exactly. Kairu's hit the nail on the head. The lagoons have substantial problems, and the Megalodon won't fix that. And maybe we should have the fountains on this side. Maybe a fountain. And this is the bigger, wider problem with the Meg. Could they take the rig for the dunk? Because for Meg, if they just use the dunk rig, they'd have to scale it up. I'm not sure if scaling a rig is easy. Well, animation is generally done by points or an internal skeleton on a model. So all you have to do is kind of just put the points on the skeleton in the right place, and then you can just leave it at that. It's not that difficult to, you know, once you have that internal skeleton you use for the animation, you can then apply it to everything else. That's why all the stegosaurs in the game have the same animations. They just apply them. They just apply the same skeleton to them.
I love a bit of rigging.
Well, Matthias, they won't use skins from copyright stuff they don't detail. So they won't be using the skins from the Meg films because obviously that's copyrighted. They don't own that, so they can't use it. And again, I'm sure that the skins that they do pick will be terribly generic because Frontier has no imagination. It really annoys me we don't have a curved thing. Other than that. Okay, that's better. I prefer that. I think the reason people are so pissed off about how shit the lagoons are is because of how high they had their expectations and they were unrealistically high expectations. I'm not sure I agree. I don't think we did have high expectations for the lagoons. For a long time, we weren't even sure how they were going to function. We didn't know whether it was going to be sort of you draw it out like Zoo Tycoon style and then it makes the lagoon whatever shape it is. It was relatively late into the game's sort of hype mongering that we finally found out how the lagoons were going to work. I don't think we had unrealistic expectations for them. I think we expected them to have the same amount of work and development time as the rest of the game, and it's clear that they didn't. Fundamentally, they should not. We should not have had to have the social animations patched in. I kind of feel that they should have been there from the very beginning. And then you start going down a slippery slope. But yeah, I think the point I was trying to make was that it doesn't matter whether the Megalodon is or is not in the game. The lagoons still have a problem. And until the problem with the lagoons is fixed, I still think people are not going to use them. Like, these people, I do wonder, like, of the people who are most eager to have the Megalodon in the game, I do wonder how many of them actually play the game as much as, say, me or Evo does. Like, how many of these Megalodon fanboys are, like, full-on park builders, and how many just kind of will randomly just load up the game, have a look at the Meg and go, oh, that's cool, and then, you know, probably go off and play Fortnite or whatever. Because at least from my experience as an Evo moderator, having a look at the people who do Battle of the Builders especially, I don't think a lot of people actually play this game as much as me or Evo do, or even build parks to this sort of scale and standard. So I think a lot of these Megalodon fans are just gonna, like, the DLC will come out, they'll buy it, they'll plonk down a lagoon, they'll go, oh, that's a very nice Meg, and then the fact that the core systems of the game, the fact that there's problems with the lagoon, the fact that the game has suffered from a lack of actual proper content, will then make them turn it off. They won't build that much with them. So I think that's a problem. But let's move away from my personal problems with adding the Meg. Let's discuss. Let's do some hypothesizing. Because I think the big question being asked now is, what are the other animals going to be? I'm not 100% convinced we're going to get a Cenozoic pack. I know that it seems to be... This seems to be the thing that's like got the most debate at the moment, is whether we're going to get a Cenozoic pack or not. I'm not 100% convinced either way by either side's arguments. If we have a Cenozoic pack, I think it would be a bad idea, because so little else of the game is centered around animals from that time period. Like, we don't have any decorations that I would say are particularly sort of Cenozoic-y or Ice Age-y. We don't have... You know, if those 4 animals are the only Cenozoic animals we're going to have in game, it's going to be a very small species list of Cenozoic period animals. And I think Frontier have demonstrated that even though we might think it makes sense to have animals of a particular period, you know, they've demonstrated that they don't always do that. On the other side, they have been doing DLCs with a particular era in mind. You know, the Cretaceous Predator pack, the late Cretaceous pack, the early Cretaceous pack. So in that respects, it seems maybe likely that they might do a Cenozoic era pack. I'm not convinced either way by either side's arguments. I'm kind of waiting for more information. It's why I'm not really... I haven't done any proper speculation video on it yet. But we'll do a bit of speculating in this stream. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's going to be Cenozoic, or do you think it won't? Barger thinks it's going to be a random shit you people wanted pack, which again, I wouldn't put it past them. Nicholas thinks it is going to be Cenozoic. I mean, I'm not even convinced it's all going to be from the Cenozoic period. I think it might just be a generic, like, after the dinosaurs pack, which I believe is a completely different title. The controversial nature of this, Neron, we'll mention that in a little bit, but it is, I think, clear just looking at Reddit and YouTube. I think it is controversial. There's a lot of... you know, my video didn't get many dislikes, so I got a lot of positive responses. At the same time, the video on Reddit got a lot of hatred. Um, it definitely seems like Reddit is like the place where the hardcore Meg fans are. Matthias thinks it'll be a aquatic type package. Yes, my first reaction to the Megalodon was, oh, for fuck's sake. Because it's such a cash grab. And actually, I feel like I need to clarify that statement. So, I have had in my comment section, a lot of people go, oh, you know, it's a cash grab, they're a business, they're supposed to make money, blah, 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 which is the usual response when I say something like it's a cash grab. Yes, they are a business. They are supposed to make money. I'm not denying them that opportunity to. What I mean by calling a pack with Megalodon in it a cash grab is that they know they can do basically no other work and still make their money off it. Like the hybrid DLC, like the Cretaceous Carnivore DLC, because, you know, everyone wanted Tarbo, everybody wanted Utah. They could do the bare minimum they could do to get those species out, and they would still make their money. And that's what I feel like this is with the Megalodon. The other 3 animals in this pack literally could be 3 variations of Compsognathus, and people would still buy it because of Megalodon. And that's what I mean by a cash grab pack. It's DLC pack that is built entirely around one key animal. For this one, it's the Megalodon. I think for the Cretaceous Predator pack, I think it was the Concavenator, because there was a lot of Concavenator once. Or the Tarbo. Possibly the Tarbosaurus, because again, Camp Cretaceous fans. And the hybrid pack, I would say all of the hybrid pack is built for the fans of the hybrid, but I would say again it's probably Camp Cretaceous with the Spinoceratops, because Camp Cretaceous is making bank. So that's what I mean by a cash grab DLC. Like it's not attacking them on the concept of making money. It's the fact that they know they can get away with doing the least effort possible. Which is my problem, and has been my problem with Frontier for a very long time. But yeah, so let's make some assumptions. Let's assume that Megalodon is the aquatic. Let's assume it's going to be a Cenozoic era pack, or at least animals from after the time of the dinosaurs. Let's give that 65 million year block, and let's say the other 3 animals are going to be from that period of time. Let's go with what do I think is likely, and then what would I like. What do I think is likely? I think a woolly mammoth is likely. They can take the model and rig from elephants in Planet Zoo and just give it a new texture, and there you go, you have a woolly mammoth. I also think a woolly mammoth is one of those expected to be in a pack like that animals. I think it would be strange if you did a Cenozoic era pack and didn't have a mammoth. So I think a woolly mammoth is pretty much 100% going to be in it if it's a Cenozoic. I think Smilodon is also very likely because Camp Cretaceous. That's literally the only reason I think it's likely. I think Camp Cretaceous. it's also relatively famous as an animal, has a strong fan following. So I think Smilodon is also very likely. And they can just take the body and the animation rigging from a tiger or a lion from Planet Zoo, scale it up a bit. There's your Smilodon, essentially. Not difficult to do. The third animal is the one I'm not sure on. I think what's likely is it probably would be something like a woolly rhino or something that you could make a rhino body into, like Brontotherium. An Indracothere, perhaps, because an Indracothere's body is kind of a little sauropod-ish, so you'd have to alter the model, but you could probably take the animation rig from a sauropod, get rid of the tail bit, you'd still have that, like the brachiosaur neck and the big column feet movement style. You could just take from a sauropod. So I think maybe an Indracothere is potentially likely, or something, like I say, something rhino-based. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you guys think is likely? And I don't mean what would you like. What do you think is likely for them to do? Problem with the woolly rhino or mammoth is that they wouldn't like anything but taiga and alpine. That's true, but I mean, we've already got that system in-game currently where you get like a negative effect to species you use in the wrong places, so they would just do that with it, I would guess. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think are likely animals? And then we'll discuss what we would like to have afterwards. Woolly Mammoth had a small cameo as Siberian remains in the first season of Camp Cretaceous. So again, you know, Camp Cretaceous gives a little more weight to a mammoth being in there. Where are those logs? There they are. Megalania could borrow rigs and the. So again, let's not talk about what we would like to see. Let's like what is likely. What do you guys think are like the three other most likely? Like, imagine Frontier is the most boring company ever because they are. Like, what's going to be the boring, obvious choices? Woolly rhino or giant sloth? Could see a giant sloth, perhaps. Neron says woolly mammoth woolly rhino, Smilodon. Megalodon, Smilodon, Mammoth, woolly rhinos, Barga. Elasmotherium, short-faced bear. Yeah, all these I would say are pretty... I would not be surprised, that's for sure. Kind of feel like we need some more decoration on this like ridge here, because it looks a little out of place, doesn't it? I think we can go quite tall with these trees. Let's have a look. A Cenozoic pack doesn't work with 4 species. We need like 8 of them. Right, so this is the problem. I think it's very unlikely that we're going to get more than 4. And I agree that 4 on their own isn't enough. Not to represent the time period properly. But again, I don't think Frontier really care about that. That's a little better. And then I can continue this around the edges with like the mangrove. Oh, let's add in one of those mangrove-esque trees. Around here. Just kind of blend that in style-wise. Yeah, that's better. So, yes, since we're all hypothesizing, let's talk about what animals I would like to have. And again, assuming one of them is going to be Megalodon, which we can't really get around. What would I like the other 3 to be? I've never been a particular fan of woolly mammoths. I think they're okay, but they are just woolly elephants. I don't think they're particularly... I'm gonna be very careful what I say. This is one of my reasons why I don't have as much of an interest in prehistoric mammals as I do prehistoric reptiles. Because, for me at least, too many prehistoric mammals are kind of too similar to current day mammals, and I just can't find them personally as interesting. No, I'm sure a lot of prehistoric mammals are interesting, and some of them are. It's not a universal comment. I do have some, which I'll talk about in a sec, but just as a time period, I'm not very fond of the prehistoric mammals as a general. So that being said, I would love to see Doedicurus, the massive armadillo, sort of almost a mammal version of Ankylosaurus. I think it's one of the more interesting prehistoric mammals. We do have dig sites already in Argentina and South America, so again, would kind of fit in with the game as we already have it. And I just think it would be really cool to have like an enclosure of Doedicurus and Ankylosaurus living together. I just think that would be really cool. Just have like the mammal version and the reptile version living side by side. I just think that would be really fun. So yeah, something like Doedicurus or Glyptodon, something like that I would love to see. Andrewsarchus is one or is Andrewsarchus is my Megalodon. Okay, if the pack turns out to be having Andrewsarchus in it, you will see me become a fanboy overnight. Andrewsarchus is one of my favorite animals of all time, and it's simply because it is it's a wolf. It's a sheep in wolf's clothing, which I think is the funniest thing. It's just like the relatives of sheep is Andrewsarchus, this rhino-sized super predator. I think that's hilarious. Hello, Goofy Goof. So yeah, if it comes with it, Andrewsarchus would be something I would love to have in a Cenozoic era pack. Especially if it had some quite cool skins. I've always, walking with beasts, that is Andrewsarchus for me. That depiction with the caramel coloured fur and the black striping down the sides, that's Andrewsarchus. Same as, I suppose, walking with dinosaurs is Liopleurodon is like, for me, that is Liopleurodon. I don't care what other depiction you want to have. Liopleurodon for me will always be that black and white Liopleurodon. So yeah, Andrewsarchus is one that I would want to have. I'm just trying to think of something else, like a third species that I would want. See, there's so much more than 4. Like, I could probably come up with a list of like 10. Something I think is a problem with many people's lists of ones that they would love is that they're all pretty big. So, I mean, I suppose a terror bird is big, but they're not huge compared to, say, Indracathis or something like that. A terror bird would be cool to have. Something like Diatrima or, Forest Racus from Argentina. And given that the game has those wonderful feather texture shaders and stuff now, I think they would be a fool not to have a terror bird. But again, there's so many mammals that would be cool to have in the game. and other, and not just mammals either. There are so many other cool animals from this period of time in other groups that would just be brilliant to have. But it is like people say, like how representative can they be with just 4? I mean, there are some people in there were some people in Evo's chat yesterday being very ambitious and being like, oh, they could include Titanoboa, and I'm like, no way in hell will they have Titanoboa. That would be way too much work at this point in the game. Like, if it was like one of the early DLCs, maybe, but not now. Not when the game is like in death mode. Definitely not. If you could remove 3 creatures from the game for Andrewsarchus, what would you remove? Oh, that's easy, Goofy. Like, that's not even difficult. Right, get rid of Maiasaura, replace it for Andrewsarchus, would be happy. Get rid of Pyroraptor, I would be happy. Get rid of get rid of Dreadnoughtus. I would be happy with Andrewsarchus instead. There you go. I think Dreadnoughtus is potentially my most controversial pick there. But I think that demonstrates how much I would rather have Andrewsarchus than anything else. Yeah, Daeodon, Hyenodon, cave bears, Calicotheriums. Calicotheres are weird animals. Like, Calicotheriums are probably one group of mammals that I think are actually interesting, because they're kind of like, they walk around on their knuckles like gorillas. They have claws like baryonyx, and they have a body that's like a tapir combined with a giraffe. It's such a weird animal, a Calicothere. What if they just put Titanoboa on the Notho rig and removed every animation involving its legs? Well, they can't do that, Barger, because Titanoboa is a constrictor. So to eat anything, how are you going to have it eat? Can't chase fish, can it? Scorpius Rex. Get rid of Scorpius Rex for Andrewsarchus easily. I would easily do that. Stegoceratops. Berenson would remove my Stegoceratops, which is the only hybrid I actually like. I can understand why though. Let's do a couple more of these fans. Whoops. Whoops. There, I think that looks pretty decent. Pretty swampish. Nice and decorative. Right. Let's move away from coming up with animals. And let's think about the park. So, this is going to be where our Deinosuchus is going to be living. Now, people wanted to use the land-based Deinosuchus here. So, if we're not having the lagoons, what kind of sort of decorative nature shall we go with for the enclosure? Because I want the enclosure for the Deinosuchus to be something that's quite impressive, since it is like the key animal for this area. I do want to do, you know, try and have like a slightly thicker path for this area. Okey-dokey. And I think if we kind of go... I want them to... I'm just thinking about where I actually want the Deinosuchus enclosure to kind of be. Let's just use the fence line to kind of put in a rough idea. So I want them to have this little offshoot bit here as well. So kind of something like that. Down to here, down to here. So that's going to be like our Deinosuchus area, essentially. Too close. Too close. That's good. Bugger. There you go. Fixed. Excellent. Okay, so there's our rough area for the Deinosuchus. Again, keep it. I want to keep water either side of the areas just to continue that sort of swampy aesthetic that we're going for. Neron says a salt marsh, a watering hole. Give it a pyramid. Could give them a pyramid. Just having a look. Swamp, forest. Remove the Compi, Moros, and Sinosauropteryx. They starve themselves to death. I mean, I would remove them just simply because they have no purpose in the game. They're so worthless as a species. Because the game doesn't really want to try and represent them very well, so I don't see the point of having them. It's better. Okay. So Deinosuchus, how... Let's start with the first question about... Sorry, I'm just moving around on my chair. First question about the Deinosuchus enclosure. How are we going to have people viewing them? Like, what style of viewing enclosure do we want? That's always the first place I kind of start with my other enclosures. It's like, how do I want them to view them? I want them to view them, you know, from a... Goofy Goof says log. Sink a log into the water. You know, we could do something like that, actually. I mean, I think we're going to have to remove some water so that we can have, like, you know, some islands. I feel like, you know, if a few islands makes sense. Maybe we can alter the terrain on these to make them, you know, mountainous or whatever. Over here, we do need to put in the waterfall I wanted to have. So let's go and grab that. I think that one is probably going to be the best idea. We'll have to do some covering up with like foliage and stuff, but I think that's the best one to go with. Yeah, if we put some foliage around it, it'll look all right. You wish the game had swamp plants. I mean, I wish the game had more variation in their foliage in general. Viewing dome. I think we've used the viewing domes quite a bit over with the Horus area. Like, yeah, the pterosaurs over here have a viewing dome, and the raptors have viewing domes as well, as do the Eutyrannus. So let's move away from using the viewing domes, which is why I liked the idea of using the viewing logs. I quite like the idea of maybe having a log across, like, from this little island to here. Where are the logs? There are the logs. Like, maybe have it here, like as a pretend bridge. And then we could maybe have another one over here. Although I think the idea was to like to lower them into the ground. I like the idea of having a viewing log underwater. I don't even know how they interact with water, to be honest. Let's do an experiment. Let's have a look. Let's find some water. Like, okay, so if you sink them, the water does actually like go through, and it's quite visible that it's gone through as well. So we are going to have to keep them at least above water level. But you know, that kind of works. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. At least have one down at water level, and then the other one I think we should have above water level. So you have like two different views. Like that. Obviously, I'll do decoration and stuff to sort these out, but I think using the logs is a good idea. Would love the Spino swimming through, just being a hippo. I do have to say, I love Prehistoric Kingdoms Spinosaurus. The fact that they just kind of lazily swim about there, it's definitely what I imagine a Spino to be like. Fletcher, Ultimate Challenge, only species part, only aviary species, but no aviaries. I don't even think that would work. I mean, potentially it would. But it would be very annoying to try and get them to stay in their areas. You've decided to get Subnautica for your birthday, Brenson. I would say you won't be disappointed. In regards to Subnautica, I'm actually going to be continuing Subnautica on next week. So next week's stream will be Subnautica. So I do hope people tune in to that. Okay, this one I kind of feel like I want to build some mountains with. One, two, three. Yep, satisfied with that. And then just put that one underneath. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, same thing here. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 4 needs to be moved over slightly. 4. Maybe put this one up here. 5. Yeah, I'm happy-ish with that. Obviously, they'll have plants and stuff around. I'm okay with that. I think this particular mountain or landmass I want to make kind of rough anyway. Actually, let's move these. And let's build the terrain first. Ah, interesting. It's not going to let me put terrain under. Okay, okay. Let's move that. Let's put the terrain in. There we go. I don't want the whole thing like massively mountainous. I want to kind of give like the Deinosuchus like one area to sort of sit, be like a bit of a beach. And then where was that? About there? No. About there, wasn't it? Yeah. Then we can put like the stones and stuff back around it. Whoops. Let's potentially move that one down. No. Let's have that one there. Let's have that one there. Put that one like there. Yeah, that's okay. Maybe if we just try and smooth a bit. Yeah, happy with that. Okay. And then I think over here we need to kind of do something similar. So let's have like some raised terrain for this one. Let's not make it too steep because I want the dinosaurs to be able to climb up that one. Maybe, yeah, something like that. Let's smooth out the contours a bit more. That's good. And for this one, let's just like, that's a bit too prominent. Let's just give it like a bit of a... There we go. Couple of prominences. What's the best faction in New Vegas? Oh, bugger. That's a difficult question. I suppose the best faction in New Vegas is very dependent on whether you agree with Mr. House or not. Mr. House is a megalomaniac dictator. So it's whether you can be okay with that or not. I personally can't. I just do not like Mr. House. I think Mr. House is genuinely out of his mind. 3, let's just do like another like 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do like 4 here too. I mean, when I play New Vegas, I always go with Yes Man, which is the option where you take over. Because honestly, I don't agree with the NCR. I don't agree obviously with Caesar's Legion. I mean, Caesar's Legion are a bunch of slavers and you know, they are literally evil, so you can't really side with Caesar's Legion. The NCR are just fascist authoritarian nutters, so I can't really side with them. And Mr. House, like I say, is a megalomaniac two-pot tin head who wants to rule Vegas with an iron fist. As long as it, you know, satisfies him, he's okay with it. So, yeah. I go neither and do the yes man option. Although it does result in a bad ending, which I've always found particularly annoying, because it's like, I honestly don't think I would result in a bad ending. I played my courier pretty good, so for it to say, oh, actually, you result in a bad ending, it's like, oh, okay, that's a bit naff and unfair, but fine. Speaking of Subnautica, I know the Cyclops will be named Titanic. So what would the Seamoth be called? Well, you could call your Seamoth Argo, which is the little robot that first discovered the Titanic in the 1980s. Alex, so I have a question for you, Tricle Gaming. Do you find it weird that certain species in this game like or dislike each other? I don't find it weird, because I think it's natural for some species not to get along with others. I do find the ones they do and don't get along with strange. There are some choices in this game where I'm like, why? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like the idea that ceratopsians and I think it's stegosaurs don't get along with each other. That makes no sense to me. Like none of the armored herbivores get along with each other, and I'm like, why? That doesn't really make much sense. Surely they would get along with each other because you know they're similar in terms of their outlooks on life. I almost don't want to make use of these horrible concrete pieces, but we just don't have any... Why did it do that? We just don't have anything else that works. I think the low wall sections are too low for Deinosuchus. And these are the only ones that I think are tall enough and strong enough, but I don't want them right up against the path. I kind of want to be able to put down plants or something. So let's put them sort of like there. And let's put you basically there and you... Yeah, but that doesn't give us enough room for... Okay, what's the alternative? We could have fencing. We could go with a fence. Maybe the electrified. But again, I think that's too dangerous. The medium ones... Again, people could just stick their hands through. So I think that's too dangerous as well. But I really don't like this solid concrete one. I think they look really ugly. That's why I made a tier list on it. Oh, well, I'll be curious to see what you do with your tier, what you did with your tier list. Maybe we could sink these down. It'll take too much time, though. And these are just... They just look too flimsy. You know, maybe we could do the alternative, which will take a little bit more time, and I'll probably have to do most of it off screen. But I can at least do a little bit, so you guys can see what I want to do. These planters, they all have wall sections underneath. It's just you never see them because they're buried under the ground level. But they've actually got quite a bit of wall to them. So I think, like, if I use these and have them relatively high up, sort of like there-ish, you know, you've got enough of a wall there to keep the Deinosuchus in. You've got enough of a wall that it stops stupid people putting their arms inside the enclosure. And at the same time, it doesn't look too bad because you've got these nice plants on the top. What do people think? You know, I think this method is going to be the best to create a nice wall between the Deinosuchus and the other section. Hello, Catherine. Welcome to the stream. Stops little kids getting in as well. Exactly. And then basically what we can do is we can continue this to sort of the edge here. We can have like a mock water source again here. And yeah, that would work. So we'll go with that. Of course, it is going to take me a while to do that. So I will do it off screen so I don't bore you guys. What we'll do right now is we'll put the invisible fencing in. Obviously, a lot of this invisible fencing will be hidden by plants. We'll let the Deinosuchus go a little bit down here, but not too far down. Make sure they have plenty of space. This is going to be, just thinking about it, a very big enclosure. But it is Deinosuchus. That is a huge enclosure though, but a lot of it is water, to be fair. The brain is thinking. Do we do it a shared enclosure? Maybe have a dividing line between the two and have Deinosuchus in one half and something else in another? The brain is thinking. Yes, I am. A part of me is a bit like, do we have something like Suchomimus or Spinosaurus in here with them? And just have like a dividing line between the two enclosures? But then if we had Spinosaurus, we'd need to kind of change what our plan is for the walls. For now, let's keep the enclosure as is for now. I'm going to save this game. Oh, why would you do that? Just going to double check that did save. Yes, it has. I'm just going to get rid of these old ones. There we go. Right, let's go and check out the Deinosuchus in the species viewer and figure out what skins to have. Last thing you want is a kid to become a CROCS snack. No. No. Let's bring up Notepad so I can have a look here. I haven't actually used the Deinosuchus, so I have no idea how good the mod is in terms of skin. Deinosuchus. Okay, so there is our big boy. I'm actually curious to see how it walks. No, it's not a bad rig for that. You know, that's not bad. It has the same generic head scratch thing as all of them do. Yeah, I think it is the Dimetrodon rig. Okay, interesting. So it doesn't have patterns. It only has main colors. So let's have a look. So there's Sonoran Desert. You know, I really love that. Look how beautiful that is. That golden coloration. Death Valley is just kind of like a generic crocodile, I suppose you could call it. Great Sandy Desert gives it like the yellow belly and the black top. Chaplin Valley is again kind of generic crocodile. Salar del Huasco is like a... gives it a white belly. Limpopo is basically generic crocodile again. Killian Mountains is like swampy green. Yukon River is generic. Svalbard is like a lighter green. Amazon Rainforest, again, generic, doesn't work. Not all of these seem to be working correctly. Mangrove Forest is cool green. Gambia doesn't work. And then you have Mississippi Penis. How the heck do you pronounce that? Mississippi Piensis? No, that's not right. Mississippiensis. Mississippiensis. What a mouthful. Why is the sun? Why is the? Oh, okay. It's like a blue gray. It's like an oyster blue gray. And then we have melanistic and albino. Whoa! Sorry for everyone I just flashbanged. And then we have albino. Okay, yeah, so not all of the skins work. I do love the Sonoran Desert one. That's one of my favorites. So we'll have Sonoran Desert. I think the enclosure is easily big enough for let's start with 6. Let's do 6 to begin with. So let's have... Shall we have one of... like, have them as different colours? So let's... yeah, let's pick 6 different colours. So I'll have a Sonoran Desert. Other people give me the one that they would like. And I'll just run through them again. So Sonoran Desert, you've got Death Valley, Traditional Croc, Great Sandy Desert, which is yellow belly. Salar del Huasco, which is lighter yellow belly. Killian Mountains for green. Svalbard for a lighter green. Mangrove Forest for like a swamp green. Battleship blue. Melanistic and albino. So Goofy Goof says albino, so we'll do an albino one for Goofy Goof. Kairu says Mississippi there. Yep. And that gives us 3 more. The one that got dipped in luminous paint. What, the bright fluorescent green one? Which is that one, I think. Melanistic for Neuron. And name it Obsidian. We'll name them once they're in the enclosure. Catherine says Slime Green is good, so we'll have a Killian Mountains. And one more. Mangrove Forest. Right. Now then, let's go back to the main menu. Now, just so people are aware, it may crash on me loading back into the map. Hopefully it won't, but it might do because we use the species viewer. So if it does suddenly disappear, don't worry, we'll get it back. Just bear with me. Yeah, and once they're in the enclosure, we'll name them. We should have a Dinosaurus called Steve in honor of Steve Irwin. I agree, Cairo. I remember when he died. Because it was like, I think it was either it was like a month or two before, or a month or two after Richard Hammond had his massive high-speed accident as well. And I was like, oh bloody hell, am I gonna lose two like celebrities that I actually care about in 1 year? Luckily, Richard Hammond pulled through. But yeah, poor old Steve Irwin. We should probably decide where we're going to have the meat feeders. I'm going to say let's have a meat feeder here in view of those. And let's have a meat feeder somewhere that's a bit more protected, like here. Maybe. Like, it's kind of in view of that one. I think they eat meats. We can't change... If they're using the Dimetrodon rig, they must eat meat. You know, I suppose the better idea would be to remake the mod using the Spinoceratops rig. Because then you have the you have like the four-legged movement, but then you also have the eating fish bit. Right. Dinosuchus. So first one is Sonoran Desert. Next one is, this is going to take a while, Albino. Next one is our Mississippiensis. Who's going to be thirsty. Next one is Melanistic. And Killian Mountains. And what we'll do is I'll release one of them, and then we'll make the last one. Last one being modified genome. Last one being mangrove forest. I don't think they have a flight rig, oddly enough, because I can't see one underneath that helicopter. So I don't think we'll see them until they actually drop them down. Oh no, I think I've just seen what's happening to them. They're not showing up at all. Where are they? Oh no, look. Oh, what has happened? Oh no, what's happened? Do they not? What manner of terrible thing has occurred? What has happened here? Okay. I just want to do a quick experiment. I might have to load back into the game. What's... Oh, they're all stuck inside the hatchery. They must not have helicopter rigging. Okay. Okay, let's I think there might be a minor problem with this particular mod. Let's try doing it the conventional way and just stick the hatchery on the edge and release it by standard release. Oh dear. Okay, there we go. Path not connected. There we are. Right. Let's hope this works. So, synthesize dinosaur, Deinosuchus, modify, Sonoran Desert, select one egg, release. There we go. So yeah, we're gonna have to release them one at a time. Oh dear. Right. I'll report that after this to the mod maker. At least I don't spaz out of control and being carried by a helicopter. Oh, do you remember when the game first came out? None of the sauropods you could transport by helicopter without them spazzing out like that. It's a major bug the game had on release. He be cured. He does indeed. Right. Mangrove forest is the last one. There we go. There we go. Right, and then let's just release all of these as they are. There they go. They are big, aren't they? When you think a normal crocodile is about half that length and certainly not that bulky, they really are very big, aren't they? Do they have social animations? Like I can't remember what the Dimetrodon social even is. Oh, right. The one lays its head. He's trying to drown him. Yes, Kyrie, it was the Apatosaurus. Yes. Is that all of them? Yes. Good. Something is... What? Oh, shit. It's attached to the fence, isn't it? Arg. Okay. Hang on. Let's delete the invisible fence. Delete that. Then replace the invisible fence to stop those big hungry crockies escaping. There we go. The day is saved. I think we might need more than... Oh, right. Yeah, they don't have anything to eat, do they? We were going to put one... And where were we putting these? One there and one down here. Looks like have another one on this little island as well. Just to make sure they've got plenty to eat. Why am I thinking of that one meme? No matter what we breed, we still are made of seed. This is my... Oh, for heaven's sake, Berenson, that's disgusting. That dino, hippity hoppity, I force water into your body. I can't imagine a Deinosuchus hipping or hopping, to be fair. Right, shall we... Let's get naming them. I know that Neron wanted the melanistic one named Obsidian. So there's Obsidian. I think I spelled that wrong. It's Ian, isn't it? No? Owen? Is it Ian or Owen? Obsidian. It's Owen, isn't it? Obsidian. That looks correct. Let's have some names for the other ones. To move them around a little bit as well. Oh, it's AN. Thank you. Obsidian. There we go. Ah, Steve. Yes, which one shall we call Steve? Let's go for the the Mississippians ones, because that's kind of generic crocodile color. So let's call that one Steve. Hello, the monster. And progress is going well. We started by just doing a little bit of a guest area down here, and we're putting our Deinosuchus in at the moment. Name the albino Yayo. What does Yayo mean? Name one Maurice. What? Maurice. Quite like the name Maurice. It's named like the kind of swampy green one, Maurice. That one, Maurice. Yep. So we got Maurice. And we need one for our golden dino over here. Why are you fighting with Steve? Yeah, I think he picked the wrong rig. I don't think he should have used the Dinosaurs rig. I think he should have picked a different rig. Not the Dimetrodon one. But we can deal. We can deal with that, I suppose. Snowball. I like Snowball, so we'll call the albino one Snowball. Yeah, I think we do need to name and know those as well. Oh, yeah, it's a slang term for a specific powdered narcotic. Well, I prefer Snow. I think Snowball is good. Our golden dino, which is my one technically, I'm going to name. Oh, we do need a Sobek. We should have a Sobek, so we'll name the golden one Sobek himself. And we've got what that leaves one more. The sort of green, slimy swamp green one. Killer Croc. Killer Croc he is. There we go. So yeah, just having a look at it. So that's with 6 Dinosaurs. Like, I know it looks empty now, but I think once I put all the decoration in, the trees, the surrounding rocks, I actually think that would actually be enough with those 6 Dinosaurs. With the surrounding trees and vegetation. I think that's actually enough. I don't think it needs any other species in here. Maybe. We might do. I mean, since they're all on this little island here, looking at how much of the rest of this we have. Maybe. I will give it a think off stream, and maybe I'll peruse, because like, what else could we put in here that would match with Sobek as an Egyptian Nile god? Like, Suko, we would need to have proper fencing. Spino, we would definitely have to have a proper fencing. Baryonyx. Baryonyx we might be able to get away with if we make the wall a little taller. And we can switch to the nicer cosmetic option that I have. Baryonyx could be a possibility. Well, sauropods don't really suit. You know, this is supposed to basically be the Nile. Sobek is the crocodilian god of the Nile. So whatever animals we are putting in here either have to have sort of a relation to crocodiles or something similar, or have to be kind of related to the Nile in some way. So if you can find a herbivore that lives naturally on the Nile that we could represent in game with a similar species, I would be all for that. Someone did mention naming the Nothosaurs. I think 1 or 2 of them do have names, but let's go find. Nigel is named. I think he's Nothosaurus number 1. Actually, is Nigel. Oh, and we got Undyne as well. So let's have another name for a Notho. Hunt failed. Moray. I like Moray, actually. That's a nice name. So we've got Moray. Let's have some other names. Flotsam and Jetsam after the eels. I love that. Okay, Flotsam and Jetsam. Is it Jetson? Jetsam. Flotsam and Jetsam. Monty. Monty's a good name. Monty. I think there's 8 of these in here, so I think we need 2 more names. I'm just trying to think, is there any other Nerites. Ooh, god of shellfish. I like that. Nerites. And Nigel is last. So we've got 7 of them in here, I think. I think they are all now named. Yeah. I'm actually really happy with how the Nothosaurus enclosure has turned out with the trees and stuff. I think it works really well. Obviously, I need to do the rest of the decoration, but yeah, I think it looks really good. I'm happy with that. The Deinosuchus enclosure, again, I'm going to have a think about whether I want more animals in here or not. The other section of this area, so down here, is definitely big enough for either another lagoon or another enclosure. So we'll have to think about whether we want to have kind of another lagoon animal here. What other animals have I... So yeah, we could have the lagoon version of Deinosuchus in here, or we could go for one of the other animals. We shall have to have a think. What are your thoughts on Paraliton for the Deinosuchus enclosure? I don't think I have Paraliton. I don't think I have that mod, if it's a mod. Yeah, no. I still want to use a Saurophaganac somewhere. Oh, I see, a creature that can look like it as a stand-in. Oh, I'll have to go and have a look at that. And then obviously once we've done the last sort of enclosure bit down there, then the next bit will be the Anubis section, which is going to be all up here. And the Anubis section is just basically going to be the underworld. So we're going to try and make it look nice and underworldy, have lots of hybrids in here primarily for the Anubis section. I need to figure out where I'm going to draw Anubis's symbol. He's a bit of a pain in the ass to draw. I think he's going to have to be... like, he'll probably have to be over here. This is like the biggest area for something to be drawn in. Or here. I'll have to think about where I'm going to do that. But yeah, there's probably room for 1, 2, 3 hybrids for the Anubis section. So we need to think about what 3 we're going to have. We could put the crocodilian looking Liplorodon in that lagoon. We could do. That would actually suit. We've also got, so there's this little area down here I'm not sure what to do with yet. It's definitely big enough for a possible enclosure, or we could put something else in there. I don't know what yet. I'll have to give it a think. You could put Dimetrodon in the underground section. Well, I want to stick to using the hybrids in the underground section just because I think they suit sort of like hellish monsters the most. But yes, Dimetrodon would suit given the underground nature. And a small baryonyx habitat could go here. And maybe continue like the water effect outside and have like a little bit of a river. Maybe. I'll give it a thought. However, I want to say thank you for everyone for tuning in. It's been nice to chat to you all. It's been a very active stream. Don't forget to give it a like if you have not done so already, and subscribe to the channel if you're new for more content. Not just from me, but from all of us at Triclaw Gaming. I know it has been a while since Dane has done a stream, but he has been very busy with work. But we promise we haven't forgotten. And we do have plans for a new third member to be joining. So we'll see, and possibly even a fourth. We'll see how it goes. We might not be Triclaw. Well, we will always be Triclaw Gaming. Just there might be more than 3 of us. We'll see how it goes in the rest of the year. But for now, I want to say thank you. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays wherever you are. And I'll see you next time. Stay safe and good night.